after Gojo dies in that dream sequence, Gojo says he doesn't know if he would win against Sukuna even if Sukuna didn't take Megumi's body and use the 10 shadows technique. That is what I have a problem with, right? Because Sukuna, there's two reasons why he took Megumi's body. Because he couldn't take control over Yuji's body and his soul, so he needs to free himself from the cage. Understandable. But the second reason is because of the 10 shadows technique, Maharaga. He needed to bypass and figure out how Gojo's technique worked. And in order for him to bypass Infinity, he used Maharaga with the space cutting slash. So when that happens, when you say, oh, you don't know if you will beat him without the 10 shadows, then it's like it defeats the purpose of him kind of taking over Megumi's body. That didn't make sense at all. Personally, me, I still stand on the case of I don't think, and with the recent chapters now, I don't know, but initially I was like, I don't know if Sukuna beats Gojo without Megumi's 10 shadows technique, because he will have no way to bypass Infinity. Right. That's the reason's whole purpose. Also, another thing is I would have preferred that, in that moment when it shows Gojo's about to win, if Sukuna would use his failsafe and reverting back to his Heian form and then using the world cutting slash. That would have made a lot more sense, because not in that instance, he's using the chance to kind of use the world cutting slash to split Gojo in half, right? In that moment, it's kind of like, okay, I get it, Moreover, going back to kind of with Daquan's point really briefly, because I don't want to be continue rambling on and on, right? I do feel like another issue that I do have is just Gojo getting killed off panel. It's kind of like, how did he get caught off guard? But I don't know what happened in that sequence, so I can't assume anything, right? It's just I gotta wait until it's revealed, or we can continue making theories, right? But outside of that, going into where Sukuna's at now, we know that he's kind of, waning, right? With his curse technique, can't use his domain. But the fact that, the certain verbiages. He is waning. So like in the battle, he can't use his reverse curse technique is slowing down, and more importantly, he can't use his domain expansion. So when Yorome says, "Oh, he's not fully trying," I think that's probably the wrong text to use, because that don't make sense. What I think was actually being meant to say was Sukuna hasn't pulled all the stops, meaning he hasn't revealed all his cards, and that is the black box open, right? Which he actually finally reveals at that last leak against Maki. But that's my point. Go ahead, or go ahead.
No, yeah. So I kind of agree with everything you were saying, because that the last chapter in the last panel, that was confusing when he was just saying he wasn't trying, because I'm like, you're not trying, like that doesn't make any sense. Like that, it just
that don't make sense. Bro.
You not trying just completely erases everything, and then it's like I have no problems with the Gojo and Sukuna fight. That's probably the best fight that I've seen in a long time. Your point of you don't know if he would win without the 10 shadows. I disagree, but I see it. I see it just because from the way it's going with them killing off Kenjaku, it's like it's not gonna end with just Gojo just beating him like that. So
when you say you disagree, just to clarify, what stance do you take? Like,
I think Sukuna would have beat Gojo regardless if he had, because during the time that Sukuna was the greatest sorcerer ever, all of those sorcerers were stronger than all of the sorcerers now. Supposedly, that was like the age of like prime sorcerers. So he could have fought multiple people, maybe not on Gojo's level, but like right on par. Because it's Gojo, then I would say it's Kashimo, and then Yuta and Hikari, kind of on the same level. And the way he smoked Kashimo is like, and Kashimo was 400 years ago. Sukuna was 1,000 years ago, and 1,000 years ago the sorcerers were more powerful. So it's like if you smoke Kashimo like that, and the sorcerers at your time was more powerful than Kashimo, it's like, yeah, I can see why the writing would make him like just super OP.
You know, and I think another issue too, going back to like what Ru's saying, I'll say this real briefly, is like I do think it is getting to a point where Gege may write himself to a corner, because we see this with shonen animes all the time, right? Like, and although people may not have vocalized it to this degree because we have the internet, at least compared to when I was younger, but like with Madara, for instance, Madara was so overpowered to the point where he was fighting all the Nine Tails blind while he was alive, which was ridiculous, right? And he got so powerful that it took Zetsu to betray him, which was which was an actual ass pull, because there was nothing leading up to that point, right? And people did complain about it. Or even Bleach, right, where Sosuke Aizen became so powerful that they had to kind of pull a power up for Ichigo in order to defeat him. You know what I mean? So we see it happen time and time again, and I'm praying to God that Gege doesn't do the same with Sukuna, but it's getting to that point. I'm gonna be honest. It's getting there, because for your army to say, yeah, he's not even trying, you don't get his blood boiling. Like, and the original leak that I got a different translation, but when I seen another leak, the rest of the leaks, I was like, whoa. Like, now I can understand if you're saying he's still got a few cards to hold, but to say he's not trying is absolutely ridiculous, because then now you're insinuating that he can just wipe out the cast at any given point in time, even if he wanted to.
He's not fighting just regular sorcerers. Like, you're like, bro, like, you just finished fighting Gojo for like 30 chapters, for what it seemed like 30 chapters, bro. And then you fight Kashimo right after. Then you're fighting a trio of, there was Kashimo, and then who was after Kashimo?
It was Chozo.
Yeah, it was also the dude with the Judgment too.
The Judgment, Judgment, Yuji, and then Chozo, and then after that, Yuta came in. And
so to say you're not trying, I'm like, you're about to, and because he said this is the last arc. Like, he said he doesn't want to continue it. He don't want to create like a spinoff or nothing like that. So it seems like you're just trying to get this over with, and your writing is taking, like, the storyline is taking a hit, and it's gonna be sad the way it ends, because I really have this. If it ends the way I think it's gonna end, I really put this in like my top 3, top 5 all time, because that's how great this whole thing is. But it just seems like he don't even care anymore. It seems like the Gojo and Sukuna fight was like the peak, and now it's just like, let me just kind of get this over with now.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because like, even though I had Gojo winning, like, I don't really care who won, right? It was a story, but let's say he didn't use the 10 shadows, right? From your opinion, how does he beat Gojo in that standpoint?
See, so we would have to see the rest of his abilities. I feel like we've seen a few, but we haven't seen the extent of it. And for him not to even use those abilities in the fight with Gojo and stick to the 10 shadows, that kind of just shows that he was not playing around, but he was limiting himself in a way.
Can I ask you this?
Argue he has to stick to the 10 shadows, because nothing else can bypass Infinity. You know what I'm saying? Infinity is like the ultimate trump card, but now you found a counter for that. So even though he may have those other abilities, I think they don't bypass Infinity, which is the issue, and why he did need Megumi's body in order to use the 10 shadows. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah,
he was stalking Megumi for a long time. It wasn't just because he likes how he looks. You know what I'm saying? It had to be a reason.
I just gotta see what other abilities that he had. Because it's like, okay, you're the strongest pusher from 1,000 years ago. We've seen a few. We've seen a few, but the way the buildup and the way they categorize him is like he just has like an influx of abilities that we just haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let you go, Mo. I'm not gonna argue that Gojo is stronger than Sukuna, right? Because the writer has written Sukuna to be stronger than Gojo, so that would be a waste of my time. But I do think, you know, and this is why I'm questioning some of the writing here, and I hope to be wrong in the long run, because, you know, I really love this series, but I'm questioning some of the writing because it just feels like what you've written and what you've given me, it just feels like the outcome now is just not really making sense to me. You know,
can you elaborate? Can you elaborate on that point?
Yeah. So to even go back to a question that you've been asking me week after week, like, oh, I need to know how Gojo got caught slipping. Because if I'm not mistaken, doesn't the 6 eyes like help you give you an enhanced sense of seeing cursed energy?
Yes, it can. So this is what the 6 eyes can do. It can see the technique and it can see it coming. But the problem is, so the problem is with the world cutting slash, Gojo will not probably be able to see it because he got caught with it with Maharaga, so he couldn't see it coming, right? The only people that can really see slashes coming is Maki and Maharaga. That's why he compares Maki to Maharaga.
Why do you think that is?
Ones.
Like, what is it that Maki has that you think?
So with Maki, like when she fought against the head of the Zenin clan, right? When she became her awakened state, she was able to kind of feel the vibration of essentially kind of like the world around her. It's kind of like Toji, for instance, right? That's why Toji can move at certain, because of course having restriction, but at such a fast pace and sense Gojo's moves that no one else can kind of figure out, is because he can feel it like through the air. It's like they have an ability to kind of sense. They have a certain sense of sense that sources don't have, right? So I think in Gojo's case, he can see the manipulation of cursed techniques, but I guess when it came to like the just cleave and dismantle, for some reason I didn't see Gojo dodging those techniques. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't see him dodge it once. The only time that it kind of like hit off of him is when it hit off Infinity and went to the building the first time, but he didn't dodge it. So that kind of told me like he can't really dodge, dismantle, or cleave. That's why they kept kind of going back and forth. Like, and Gojo kept saying, well, you got 3 turns until you get past, Infinity, and then it's game over. Whoever can kill each other the fastest wins. So that kind of told me there's no way he kind of sees, the slashes coming. The problem though that I do have is the chant, because it seems like Sukuna has to say the chant before he kind of implements the world cutting slash. So how did he have enough ample opportunity to say the chant and then kind of use the world cutting slash? That's my issue.
Especially in the state that he was in.
Yes, the state that he was in. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So
I just think it's hard to believe. That's a good point about him not dodging those. I just find it hard to believe that someone of his magnitude would get hit with the same thing over and over and over, especially with not being just a great fighter, but you also have innate ability that you were just born with. You know what I'm saying?
True.
But I think what else is kind of crazy to me is to tell me that Sukuna was holding back, completely in control the whole time, when I witnessed Sukuna screaming for Maharaga. You know what I'm saying? Like, people who are just like, listen, I'm kind of chilling right now. I'm not screaming for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Mo, help me. They got me. You know what I'm saying? It's just not really something that's happening. So, like I said, I'm Sukuna winning is perfectly fine. Because it could have been an issue either way. That's why I said Gojo had to be nerfed if he won, right? Because if Gojo wins and he's still capable, the story can't go anywhere because no one can mess with him. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like he's kind of done it the other way, and it's just like, all right, we got to kind of see now, because if he does indeed pull a guess what, I'm holding back, then it's like, all right, where does this go? Nobody can beat him. The story's just going to end with him winning, and we're going to not have gotten so much stuff. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, they did give him a handicap. The handicap is that he's not in his original body. He's taken over like Megumi's body, but Megumi is so far gone that it's like it don't even matter at this point. But we saw in the chapter, like 2 chapters ago, that Yuji was able to kind of hit the consciousness briefly. But with the Gojo thing, going back to your point, that's why a lot of people didn't even think he was really dead from the pen. It's like, nah, he didn't die like that. Like he didn't die. And
that was crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of people still think like he's not
gonna come back.
Like, yeah, exactly. A lot of people still think he's gonna come back, because it's like, yo, bro, the way you making Sukuna is like the only one who can kind of compete is Gojo, and we've seen Gojo previously, where we thought, like, granted, he didn't get his body sliced in half, but we thought he died when he was fighting Toji, and he learned the reverse curse technique, came back, and got his dub. But we'll see what happens, because the being sliced in half thing, I don't say you could come back from being sliced in half. I'm not gonna lie.